Thank you for joining me today. I have a couple of projects here. The first one is this one. It's my friend's shirt, and unfortunately they had a puppy dog and the puppy dog ate one sleeve, so I'm going to be shortening that sleeve. And then my friend asked me if I could alter these sleeves. She doesn't like the way that this opens. We discussed taking them to about there, but I'm going to see what the sleeve looks like against my own arm, and if I feel that it looks a bit silly, then I'll rethink stopping it here and taking it up high. So let's get on with it. Now, we often think that a sleeve comes out at right angles, but it doesn't. It usually curves around slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this one flat and then this sleeve exactly on top, like this. I think what I'll do is I'm going to pin it at the top so I know that it's not going to move. My friend was furious when he found this out. There he was getting ready for work and discovered this problem. So having put a pin here where this meets, and the same at the top here where the shoulder meets, just make them as even as you possibly can. Because it's either side of the body, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter that much. And then flatten that out like that. Now the highest point is here, so I'm going to put a pin underneath there to match that. So when I measure from the sleeve base, the cuff of the sleeve up, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, which is 13¼ inches. I'm going to pop that down there, and I'm going to start cutting along here. I am going to cut both sides at the same time. I usually cut one side and then the other, only because it's uneven anyway. I'm not stretching it, I'm just cutting it. And it should give a little bit of an arc. Don't cut your soft measuring tape if you're using one. I've done that a couple of times, it's really annoying. Remove that and then take that right into the outside here. Alrighty, no point in keeping that. So I flipped the top over and just laid the cut side neatly down on the eaten side. Oh dear, that's what happens when you have dogs. And I'm just cutting along the edge of the side I've just taken off as smoothly as I can. If it's an nth longer, nobody's going to notice. That looks pretty close. I'm going to iron this hem up 1¼ inches. The setting is on synthetic, so it shouldn't be a problem. Although, to be honest, I really do dislike ironing synthetic fabrics. Maybe I need it a little bit hotter. Let's see, just a little bit hotter. Oh, there we go, nice lot of shush. So I'm going to make my way round with that 1¼ inch turning. You want it as even as possible. The advantage of a man's t-shirt, especially when he's a large man, is that the sleeves are easier to get to than under the arm too. Now, I didn't start exactly at the underarm when I started ironing this. I started a little ways out, usually because it twists then on the straight. So now I'll do the other side. I'm going to pin this into place, roll the raw edge into the folded hem there, then fold it up like that and pin it. So I put a pin there, and again put the raw edge into the fold and pin it. Do that all the way around. That's weird, that looks deeper than it does here. Should all be the same. I measured it up to the same level, so it should all be the same. It's weird when it doesn't seem to work out the way you think it should. There we go. Roll that in and there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on the other arm. I'm going to start underneath the arm. Oopsie daisy, let's unravel that so it's not so weighty in one direction. Pop this under here with the seams in line like that, and pull that one. Before I start, I'm going to spray it down with silicone, because sometimes this fabric just doesn't want to be sewn. And then I'm going to sew. See, it's twisting. Do that. Okay, so I'm off the seam. I'm going to try to run this side of the foot as close as I can to where the hem was pressed in, so I know I don't run over the top side of this. And I'm going to make my way around. I'm going to do it cautiously because I don't want to pull like that. I just need it to go in. I think this will go in okay. Around this side. The nice thing with a walking foot is it kind of keeps everything together. And then down the other side. Now it's trying to roll up and underneath the foot, which I don't want it to do. So I'm going to lift that up and then just overstitch my stitches by about an inch. You see, it totally missed there. The thing is with this fine fabric, it just kind of wriggles around and it very nearly missed out. I can get away with that, but I can't get away with that. So I'm going to have to just go back over that and take the extra stitches out. Hopefully when it's ironed, that stitching will settle down. So I'm going to go back. You know what, I'm going to unstitch those stitches first, and then I know that I'm going to get a good area to sew on. Now part of the reason it missed is, if you can see, it does kind of curve around, so I've got to make sure that I remember to curve it round. Keep everything straight as I curve it round. And then over the top. Not perfect, but seeing as it's a work shirt, I don't think he's going to be that upset about it. You know, if it was a dress shirt and it looked that bad, then I'd be upset too. But this is a really fine fabric, and I think for what he wants it for, it'll be adequate. Saves throwing a decent shirt away. And now I'll do the other side. Now the second side has gone in a lot better, so whether the first side was done more on an angle, I have no clue. But you'll sometimes find that when you're doing a pair of something, one side goes in better than the other. So I'm pleased kind of with that, and I'm sure he will be too. So this is the sleeve she wants to alter. Unfortunately she didn't put the top on, so I don't know how long she wants her sleeves to be, so I'm going to use myself as a guide. So if I hold that up to my shoulder and down, a 3/4 length sleeve usually comes to about there. I was wondering if I could keep this, but I think what I'll do is I'll cut there and then just roll it up. I'm going to cut here, so I won't even mark it. I'm going to measure from the base here to the top, and it comes to 6 3/4 inches. I am going to slide that across there and cut. Move that across and cut to the same height there, and then around again here on round. I'll do the same on the other side too. I'm going to fold all of this in like this. It's a lot easier if it's already going where I want it to go. And I'm going to line up the seam from here along here and measure 1 1/4. You don't want it much deeper than that, otherwise it's difficult to control. And I'm just going to press that there. Move the sleeve around about 1/4 of the way. That's where I started. I'm going to measure up to 1 1/4. Got to move that down slightly and into place. Because it's black, it's really difficult for me to show you. Basically, I'm going to push that down. There we go. And then iron towards where I've already ironed it into shape. Twist it again, measure up to my 1 1/4, iron again from here in. There we go. And then the last one shouldn't even need to be measured, it should just go in, but I will measure it just in case. Just as what I did. Because it's black and I can't see it very well, I'm just putting my finger on the raw edge and against my tape measure. There we go. So now I'm going to iron from there to that corner, like that, round to where I started, which was here, and I should be able to just pull it out, hold on to there, and then go into where I've already ironed the hem in. Anywhere where it doesn't look like it's been very firmly ironed in, just go over again, that'll be fine. Double check everything. If it looks like you've got a bit of a tram line going on, that's only where you've ironed one part in and it didn't quite go in to the second one in a straight line. Okay, so that's that done. Just going to check all of my pressing. That's a nice crisp line all the way around. Now I'll do the other arm. This is a cotton mixed with lycra, and as such it's usually a lot easier to sew. Having folded down everything, I don't think I even need to pin this, but I will. I'm going to fold that raw edge into that fold like that, and just start off by pinning there. Pull it out to the side. So on the opposite side, I'm going to roll that down and into place so the raw edge is in that fold, and roll it over. And again at the quarter marks, just in and over. It just holds things, and again here, and roll. Now that's held into place. This one here, the first one, I'm going to pop under here. Make sure that the seam, having taken that pin out, is in line. I want it all to be in one line so it can't be moved. I pop that down, roll this out ahead of there and start stitching. I'm not pulling anything, I'm just keeping everything in a straight line. As I get to the first pin, I'm going to pull that out, hold that in position with my fingers and carry on sewing. Roll it towards the second pin. I'm just letting it walk its way through. Take that pin out. Towards the third pin, I'm trying to keep all of this even. I have this almost on the bottom edge here, and the inside of the fold for the top of the hem running along just inside of this foot, which should mean that when you look at it from the outside, it should be a nice even look for the top stitched hem. I'm going to pull those down so I can see them like that, and I'm going to sew across where I started over by about an inch, and that's what it looks like. It's top stitched in, it's quite evenly done, and I think she'll be pleased with that. I'm just going to cut these threads back and start on the other side exactly the same way. Although this seam is no longer quite in line, it's only gone over maybe 1/8 of an inch, and it'll be fine. It didn't go over far enough to twist any of this, which is why you want to line seams up if you can. Thank you for joining me on these two little projects. I think both friends are going to be pleased. My friend with his work shirt, maybe slightly longer sleeves for short sleeves, I don't know. They turned out quite well. And then my other friend who just wanted those open sleeves to be removed, I think she'll be pleased with these as well. Just because something's got damage doesn't mean to say you can't keep it, so that's why I did that for him. If you want to see more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.